Hey everybody, welcome to my first ever stream here on YouTube. It's Mr. Metalhead Warrior, otherwise known as the Bulldog. I want to welcome everybody in the chat. Let's see who's coming in. Hey Leah, how you doing? Welcome in. Thank you for coming in. Let me know how the mic is. Trina, how you doing, honey? Thank you for coming in. It's my first live stream. I'm just winging it. I told Mrs. Metalhead I'm going for it. Robert, how you doing? Thank you for coming in. Yeah, it's my first live stream, so just winging it for now. RFD, how you doing? Din, welcome in. Uh, I'm like try to give you a quick view of my setup, my CDs that are on my far wall. I think I put up a couple pictures. Like I said, I'm just winging it. Eventually, I'm gonna have a picture of the background, and the camera I got doesn't just do a flip. I gotta move it around, so just bear with me. That that's my setup. I don't know if you guys can see it that much because this camera, I gotta get used to it. We got that right there, all the way over. I know it's a little bit bright because the window's open a little bit. But yeah, that's that's my setup for now. I got some more behind me. Eventually, I'm gonna have my background that Mrs. Miller's gonna make. Yeah, it's roughly about just over, or just close to 4,200. I just did a big order on eBay that I should be getting, and I just got a bunch of new ones in also that I gotta go through. Hey, Michelle King, thank you for coming in. How you doing? Robert, I was at 892 probably about God, probably about 2 years ago, roughly, maybe three. Then I got a catalog. I got it on three apps that I use. One's called Libid, which I could just keep track of everything, and also there's a thing called Discogs, where you can go on and you can put everything that you have right there, so you know you can either sell it or just show it, and also buy it. Adrian, if you can be careful, don't rush home. Take your time. Hi, Mrs. Metalhead. Should you be working right now? I gotta thank Mrs. Metalhead for just getting me the stuff. A few people know I've been planning on doing this for last year and a half, 2 years. I've just been putting it off. And with everything going on in the past year, Mrs. Millhead said, just do it. And without me knowing, she went out, well, went on Temu. Yeah, Ange. Went on Temu. She got me the complete setup, my little studio setup, a mic, like a couple other things. Yeah, so thanks to her. Love you to death. Thank you. And also, I want to thank her, Treaton, Ange, Waffle, and a few others for just saying do it. Just don't think about it. Just do it. So I appreciate you. Yo, Ange, how you doing? Thank you for coming in. As as it says, I'm just winging it, going for broke on it. It's gonna be not a long stream, but I figured do it now, get it out of the way. I'm still working on the thing with the gimbal. There's some things I got to work out on that, but eventually I'll get that going, and eventually I will be going live at places. There's a punk rock flea market coming to Jersey in September. I think October, and I think no December, if I'm not mistaken. Me and Mr. Metalhead will be going to the one in September. It's in Trenton. I'll also be going to the holiday one in December, which is also in Trenton. Those those flea markets, there's over like 100 vendors, if not more. You could get everything. People are selling things for dirt cheap. There's bands, great food. Um, Eventually, I'll put the link up inside here on the dates, the times, and everything. But I'm definitely going in September and December. Thank you, Dindin. I appreciate you, Mrs. Tanya. Thank you, sweetheart. I love you. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm just like today. I was just sitting there trying to set everything up, and I was doing rehearsals of it, and I went downstairs. I said, I'm going for broke on it. I don't care. It's been too long. I got everything set up, so it's going for broke now. If you guys want, you could if you want, please share my channel, smash that like button, please. Um, this is me. If anybody wants to know, I got into metal probably about 6, 7. I used to drive around. Thanks to my brother, we should drive around in this car, and probably the first real bands I heard were probably definitely Zeppelin. Black Dog was it for me. Once I heard Black Dog, I was hooked. 6 years old listening to it. My parents didn't know, but eventually it was like early Zeppelin, Diamond Head, Deep Purple, even the Doors. Um, and probably like late '80s is really I really got into it, and I'm talking deep more. First time I heard Slayer just blew my mind. They're one of their. I heard them before, but when I heard Hell Awaits as an intro to Hell Awaits, it got me when I was like 9 or 10. I was hooked. Uh, Mr. Miller, yeah, okay. My favorite CD. Oh man, that's gonna be for another stream when I could do a stack. As for favorite CD, uh, I would have to say probably Slayer, Rain and Blood, definitely. Anthrax, um, Among the Living, first two Testaments. So yeah, Robert. I I try digital. I don't like it. I need that physical copy. I mean, I use iTunes as like albums that are coming out. I'll put them on my iTunes, listen to them. If I like them, I'll go out and buy the physical copy. I've always been analog. All the downloading, as much as people don't realize, it hurts the band because the band doesn't get any profit from that unless they put it up on iTunes or Bandcamp. Uh, what's that other one? Such an S. That other streaming. But yeah, but oh, okay, right. I got you. I got you. Yeah, but for me, I've always been personally. For me, I need that physical copy. I like the artwork, the lyrics, even ones that are new. If they get reissued, they're always putting out different lyrics in there, hidden tracks, new tracks, different artwork. It's a whole different thing. But for me, I need that physical copy. and having over 40, close to 4,200 and counting. You know, hopefully, eventually, this shelf behind me, which the top uh, shelf unit, and the ones over here, that one, there you go. That's that's where it ends. The ones right behind me are new, brand new ones that just came out. I've been listening to. Eventually, I'm gonna be doing like a top albums of 2024, which I've been doing. I always do a top album list of past albums, and I love vinyl. I started doing some. I got some over here, which I will be putting up soon. Me and Mrs. Metalhead, we found some vinyl. We found Nightmare for Christmas, the original Charlie Brown Christmas theme. Um, I got a couple horror movie soundtracks. I got the Crow soundtrack, which is an absolute mind blowing, great soundtrack. But vinyl, to me, vinyl never left. Vinyl never left. It just took time to come back because when tape and vinyl left, CDs was getting big. CDs took over, but they for collectors, we found a way to get the vinyl. There's still a lot of record shops, especially in the city. You got my favorite Generation Records in Manhattan. They used to be in Brooklyn, and they moved to Manhattan. Uh, I think it's on Thompson Street, I believe it is. But they originally were in Brooklyn. They moved there about 2 years ago, and everybody thought that they wouldn't make it there because of the area, but they've been flourishing down there. And you got places in Jersey also that are that have like the mom and pop shops. You got them scattered all over the tri-state area. You know, people always ask me what's so big about it. You go to mom and pop shops, they got the actual coverage. You know, it, it's places that've been around for a while. You know, I always say support the little people, the mom and pop shops. Because we're in the chat here, it's going by quick. RFD, I believe I might. I have so many. There's things I don't even realize that I have, but I'm not a big fan of Falling Reverse. They're a good band, but I I think I heard a couple tracks by them, especially on iTunes. But yeah, there's there's some things that I definitely got to get more of. I mean, with a collection of what I have, it's mainly old. It's like thrash metal. If anybody's into like 80s, 90s, you know, um, early metal. I'm talking like early Slayer, Wasp, Testament, Sabbath, my favorite. Definitely Iron Maiden and Motorhead. Look, Lemmy, my absolute idol. Rest in peace, Lemmy. Motorhead and Maiden have been my top two, one favorite band beside next to Slayer and Sabbath. Um, God, it's combination of death metal, black metal, grindcore, uh, black and thrash, punk. If if you look up black metal, you'll see what black metal is. It's black metal first was out in Norway. Um, yes, they caught a lot of slack for a lot of past incidences out there. At least, needless to say, um, but it's a different kind of music. It's heavy. It's deep. You know, it's underground, and I like the faster stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some '80s, bands that I do like. For instance, Motley Crue. I love Motley Crue to death. Everybody used to coin them a hair metal band. Never. I never called them that. To me, Crue has always been a hard rock sleaze metal band, sort of like Guns N' Roses, and I love Guns N' Roses. Although the current Guns N' Roses, I don't particularly care for. Needless to say, because just like Vince Neil let himself go, Axel let himself go. At one point, he was, Crew and GNR were battling. And there was almost that fight. If anybody remembers, back in mid-90s, there was almost a fight between Axel and Vince Neil. It never happened. It never came to fruition. But it was a thing to talk about. Yeah, treating exactly. I exactly. That's a good comparison compared to reading a book and getting an ebook. It's just like having a CD, the physical copy, compared to a downloaded one. It's the downloaded one. It's you can hear it's too crisp. I need to have that, fresh analog, just off the press type sound. You know, um, like a lot of the reissues are digital. You can hear it. I can remember my very first CD I ever bought. God, it's going back, going back to like probably 87 ish, 88, maybe 89. Um, I think it was the first Queens. I think it was a combination of Queensryche, Skid Row, who I absolutely love, um, and I gotta say, probably Slayer and a couple Sabbath, and of course Motorhead. I mean, you know, my parents tried. My parents tried getting me not to listen to it, as a lot of parents did back in the 70s and 80s. But it's kind of hard when it's there in front of you. There's one group that all of us have to thank for the albums. That's the PMRC, Parents Music Resource Center. If anybody knows, back in the 80s and 90s, they had a big thing about explicit lyrics on albums, whether it was metal, rap, whatever. They tried banning it, just like they tried blaming bands for kids' actions. They put a little label on there saying explicit lyrics, explicit content. By them doing that, every kid, including myself, had the best teenage years growing up, because those were the albums that I went to get, not the ones that said edit it, but those were the albums. They tried stopping it, you couldn't do it. Let me catch you with this chat. Oh, and we definitely that's that definitely something I would love to do. Get together, all of us get together, go on a trip like that. I think it would be phenomenal. You know, like I said, especially like I said, there's plenty of shops. There's a place right by us that I go to called Rock Fantasy. They're a combination pinball machine place. They have tournaments there. A head shop. You get your stuff, but they also have a very intense collection of vinyl, CDs, new releases, shirts. It's literally right down the road. The guy Steven, he also owns a place called Quinn Pins that has live shows, which is right down the road from us also, which I'm going to a show in September. I think it is. Mrs. Metalhead knows, she has it down. Um, Going there in September for a live show. I think it's September or October, one of those months. But he has live shows there. There's places in Poughkeepsie, Trenton, um, Lower Jersey, Connecticut. Even has some. This place called Exile on Main Street, which is in Branford, Connecticut, and there's still a lot of shops. FYE came back selling CDs, but I wouldn't recommend buying the CDs there, because there's too many that are overpriced. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Miss Miller, yeah, you're my uh, you're my marketing, you're my secretary. She writes everything down for me, and so I know. It's like I had a pad written down of what I was going to start off with. As you see, I'm not keeping to it. So then, yeah, she is. Yeah. If I know a lot of you don't, you know, are into more of the quote unquote mainstream, you know, the Swifties. But there's a reason why I do not like the Rock and Roll Hall of Shame. There's a reason. I haven't liked them in many, many years. There's bands that should have been in there 20 years ago that are still not in there. It it irks me every time the polling they come up with it. I get irritated. You guys miss Metalhead, I start swearing at them. I don't like them. I will go there to see it, but I do not like them one bit. I can't stand them. then I mean I mean listen, her last tour she grossed 1 billion. Okay, congrats. I'll give her that. There's the shows that she put on at I think it was MetLife, those 2 or 3 nights, she sold it out. I'll give her that. But I I said it once, I'll say it again. You look at her on her albums, look where it says credits and songs written by. You might see other names next to hers that actually wrote those songs that she's singing. A lot of pop artists do not write their own material and they get big. And that's how they get big. You know, like Mariah Carey, Beyonce. Now, I love Beyonce. I'm a big Beyonce fan and Jay Z fan. Mariah Carey, in my opinion, is overpopular. Period. You know, I'm a meddler talking about pop. Yeah, okay. And another reason why I think I was more pulled toward metal is a lot of these bands, metal bands, are producing their own selves and driving themselves across country in their own U-Hauls. I know it firsthand. A fair band of mine from Jersey, Overkill, who I've seen many times and met and hung out with. Bobby Blitz from Overkill and Dee Dee Burney, they drive cross country in their own truck, in their own cars, and they live right in Jersey. They've been around for, they've been, God, they've been around for uh, 84, I believe it was the first album, 85. But yeah, whereas you got these mainstream bands that have things ready for them. They don't fly. They don't. You know. They, they don't know where their equipment is half the time. They just tell their roadies, their stagehands, put it, go. You know. Yeah, yeah, Joanne. Yeah, I gotta agree with that. That's one song. If I never heard that song ever again, I would be a happy person. I would be a happy person. But every Christmas, it's the same song by her. And I hate to say it, Ange, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Miss Millard, you go into the city around the holidays from November to January. That damn song is playing on repeat, just like the tourists get sucked in to hearing the song by Alicia Keys and Jay Z. It's the same thing, where they took a song that was made famous by a absolute legend, one of my favorite performers ever, Frank Sinatra. There's kids that don't know where that song originated from. Why? They hear it, bang. Sanders, how the hell you doing? Thank you for coming in. Sanders, I'm going for broke. I'm just winging it now. Let me know how the audio is. I have my studio things hooked up to this. If it gets too loud, let me know. Adriana, thank you for coming in. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Thank you for the support, for pushing me to do it. Like I said, I've been I've been working on this, thinking about doing it the past year and a half, almost 2 years now. I just kept putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. But I said, Miss Miller said, you're gonna do it, regardless. And before I know it, she went out and yes, and she went on Timu. I didn't think Timu sold this stuff, but the mic, the mic, the little control board, the two gimbals, the two gimbals that I have. Yes, I got two gimbals. I didn't realize I bought two of them. But that's one of them, and my other one is somewhere around here. And yeah, but I didn't realize Timu had all that stuff. I was like, okay, thanks, Danny. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, see, Mrs. Mills, I can tell you, back in high school, yes, me and her go way, way back. In high school, I used to do DJing parties in high school. And back then, we didn't, everything we got like this went to a place called Radio Shack where they had everything. And they had the bigger mixers that I had. I had like two or three big mixers, studio mixers. And I would DJ parties continuously in high school. But it's DJing parties is the same thing as this. It's just, and this is like just doing a podcast, which I plan on doing soon. I'm working on doing a podcast also. Yeah, but, you know, yes, Adriana, that's right. I was gonna tell Mrs. Metalhead to send it back, and she goes, "No, keep it. It's good to have a backup in case one breaks, or if you're charging one and you want to do something right away." So, yeah, figure keep it or good. You know, I always have a backup. Ooh, excuse me. Treating. I said the same thing when Ange was promoting it. I said the same thing, and I think Mrs. Metalhead went on there, and we just started looking at stuff. I got a I got a couple things from them. Oh, besides this and the equipment, and another camera that I got a couple shirts from there. Um, actually, I got about 5 or 6 shirts actually from there. One thing, buy a side if you get shirts or hoodies. We found this out the hard way. We bought hoodies. Well, Timu goes by China sizes and Japan sizes, and you know how China and Japan are. You know, well, both of them are like extra large for Chinese people. Not, you know. So, but I got a couple of shirts that actually fit, and I kid you not. Yes, Chinese size. They're like little pinkies, like pretzels as they call them. So yeah, a schmedium. Extra large is like a schmedium. Not even that. Oh, I I tried putting it on, and I was like, "What's his face in Tommy Boy?" We tried putting it on. Yeah, it wasn't working. It wasn't working for me, And hell, I even tried putting it on my dog, and I was like, no, exactly. See, us men don't us men don't believe in instructions or directions. We just wing it and go for it, and hopefully it happens. If it breaks along the way, oh well. Wiggle, wiggle. Excuse me. Yeah. So, is there any questions that anybody wants to put out there? It's a, I know, like I said, I'm winging it, and doing this is like getting to know everybody. Which I I I met Joe and Andrew already. Me, we're eventually gonna meet Treaton and Fafo, and then what is it, December something? We're going to the city with to meet Andrew, Joe, I believe Adriana, Leela, and Dindin. Dindin soon, soon. I just gotta find about copyright on it because my system is. I can turn this a little bit. My stereo is right here. My setup is right here, and yes, I do have LEDs up there. Yeah, over here. Those things are LEDs, and I have them set to the music. I just want to find out about copyrights before I do anything because there's some bands that will say that they will copyright, like say, you know, the Money Hungry Kiss and Metallica for that matter. Adriana, first CD I bought, I guess before, um, it had to be between like a Slayer, Sabbath, Maiden, maybe. Um, and that was back like I got it 87, I think it was 88. You know, when I had like when back then you earned money to like get money, basically shoveling paper out, things like that. I would put money away. So I loved. Sorry, I lost. Is everybody still there? There it is. I don't know what happened. I lost connection for there for a minute, and I'm inside of my house. Uh-huh. Okay, there you go. I don't know what happened there. That was weird. Huh? Oh, well. But yeah, Adriana, back there, Joseph Coffee. How you doing, buddy? Thank you for coming in. And I saw about Run to the Hills. My favorite, my favorite all-time songs by Maiden. Run to the Hills. Actually, that was the first Maiden song I ever heard. My brother had it. That's what got me hooked. That's what got me started with Maiden. And then after that, I just took off. I had to go back a couple, but Maiden's been my favorite band for ever. I got everything by them and then some. True fact about Maiden. True facts. Bruce Dickinson is a certified pilot. Yes, certified pilot. He flies Ed 1. It's a Boeing 747, I believe, double decker. He flies that plane everywhere with their equipment, with all their equipment, their bands, roadies, everything. Yes, he is a certified. He flies his own plane from destination to destination. Who's the lead singer for Maiden? Bruce Dickinson. He's been lead singer since '82, and the first one was Paul Diano off the first album. Yeah, lead singer for Maiden is Bruce Dickinson. The original singer was Paul Diano off the first album, Maiden. But once, see, I'm torn because I like both lead singers, but Dixon fits him more. It's been his band, period. And if anybody gets the chance to see Maiden live, go. We were supposed to go during COVID, the big C. It got canceled. This is when we were down in Texas, down in San Antonio. It got canceled because of that. The last one they played, I was sick, so we didn't go. But if you get anybody, Robert, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Go see Maiden. They are the best band live. Whether you like metal or not, they they were supposed to come to MSG and I think Barclays, I believe. Um, I've seen them. Oh God, probably about 10, 11 times. Each time was phenomenal. Each time got better. I never left the show for them saying, "Oh, they missed a beat." No, they were insanely great. I One of the best tours I ever seen them on, besides Fear of the Dark tour, which is my favorite album by them, was Ozfest 2004, I think it was. It was Ozzy Sabbath. Because I tell everybody, if you see Ozzy, you see Sabbath. If you see Sabbath, you see Ozzy. It's the same thing. He does the same songs on both. But it was Sabbath, Priest, and Maiden. And then the next year it was Slayer was on it also. I think that was '04. I think yeah, because 2004 was like the best uh Ozfest, hands down. It was heavier. It was not commercial like it was. Yeah, RFD, I agree with the copyright. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I feel if you're on this platform, you should be able to play your music. That's how that's how bands get out there to other people that don't know. Say a band called Exodus, who's been around for 39 years now. They're from California. They've been around forever, and you would be surprised how many people don't know of them that aren't into them. That you hear them on here, they're like, oh, they're great, and we pick them up. RFD, I remember that tour. That that tour, didn't they played with Zach Wild and God, that was 2020. That was 2016. I forgot who they played, but I know they played in Connecticut at a place called the Webster. I know that. The last time I saw Ozzy was 2013, I think. 2000. I was supposed to go 2010. I didn't because I had back surgery. I saw him like 2013. One of the first times, one of the first times I saw Ozzy, and this is the truth. I was 10 years old, I think, 10 or 11. They played at the New Haven Coliseum in New Haven, Connecticut, which is no longer there. It got imploded. Metallica opened for Ozzy, and Metallica blew Ozzy Osbourne off the stage. There was people leaving after Ozzy. Now, no one really heard of Metallica except for the underground people. I was 10 years old, and my idol at that time was Cliff Burton, who passed away in a bus accident over in Sweden. That's a whole different. There's stories about that, about how he died. The bus driver said he hit black ice. There was no black ice. The bus driver was drunk. He got basically squished under the bus. And that thing with Cliff Burton, I still say if Cliff Burton never passed away, Metallica would not be how like they are today. Then so am I. I've been I all right, when Load came out in 96, it was 95, 96, something like that. I did not like didn't like how they went totally away from who they were. You know, it's it's cool. It's fun to have bands try different things. But for Metallica to do that, I did not like it. I started to notice Metallica swaying away from being metal. Well, still metal, but more of a hard rock feel. In the Black Album. Then don't Black Album have amazing songs. Their last great album for me personally was Justice for All. The Black Album was great, right, for that time. But the Album, reasons I didn't like it, they said they would never do ballads. They said they never would do ballads, and they did. When you, when you go to a dance club and you hear Nothing Else Matters in a dance club, people are like, "What?" It's Metallica. They had I believe, two ballads on that one album. Don't get me wrong, Nothing Else Matters was a great song, regardless. You know, that was played at every prom, cotillion, whatever you want to call it, nationwide. That's when I said, uh-uh. I'll give him credit though. When Enter Sandman came from that album, that that solidified Metallica as having the best metalhead song out there at that time. Do I do I like Metallica now? Uh, yes. I bought the recent album, uh, 28 Seasons, whatever it's called. Good album. The vocals suck, hands down. Yeah, Lars is a Lars is a character, in my opinion. Lars is a character. Joe Coffee, you're always amped up on something. More than likely 30 coffees and 10 shots. Love you, Joe. Folks, do me a favor. If you like this, please smash that like button. I know I'm gonna be saying that. I get used to saying that now. 50. Yeah, I Danny D. I wouldn't doubt it. I'm I'm sure he stopped at one of the bodegas and probably got his big thermos that big filled up with coffee. I used to do it too, believe it or not. Yeah. But getting back to the copyright and hearing what I have, I gotta look into it more because I do want to play some stuff. Um, Probably the next stream or two, I'm gonna be doing like what albums got me into metal. You know, from the very start. I for me metal is like a tree because there's so many different genres of it. And it branches off. There's so many different genres of metal. You know, you got, especially from Europe, Swedish metal, Norwegian black metal, Norwegian metal, power metal, um, progressive. Of course, you got your 80s and your 90s, your grunge, your new metal, which I absolutely do not like. Out of the whole grunge, the whole new metal fiasco scene that lasted few years, the only band that I really liked, and I hated this band at first. I couldn't stand them. Was Corn, but I seen Corn many times, and they blow me away. I think I got like four of their albums, five of their albums, plus the best of. Yeah, but you know, Joseph, yeah, yes, I Cruise Crew has been one of my favorites. Um, they've been to me. People categorize them as hair metal because that one album that they put out, um, what you call it? That's in my tongue. I forgot the name. I got it right there. Um, one album that they wore makeup and whatever, and did their hair like girls, you know. But even their first few albums were a lot of back in the '80s. Back in the '80s, a lot of people, a lot of bands wore eye makeup, um, just because they wanted to fit in. But then once they realized, okay, it's not us. Why are we wearing the makeup for? Just go as we are. That's that's what got me into metal. You have like Crew has always been to me a hard, it's a heavy metal band, a great heavy metal band, um, more of a hard rock, but mainly metal. I seen Crew probably 8 times, and whoever thinks, whoever wants to see them, excuse me, now, I wouldn't. Vince Neil is so out of shape, it's not funny. He fell off a stage a couple weeks ago. He couldn't remember lyrics to his own songs. That's how bad it is with them right now. Not to mention, Mick Mars has a bone disease. When he's like a character on stage, he can't even move around. He's been like that for the past 10 years, if not longer. Um, but yeah, Jonathan Davis, Jonathan Davis, for that time, amazing lead singer. For him to sing the way he does, that's that's raw emotion. That's what you call a singer putting everything he has behind his lyrics and his songs. He grew up in Bakersfield, California. He had a rough, needless to say, rough childhood growing up. There's a documentary about him out. I believe it's on YouTube also. I seen it a couple of times. There's also a couple of books that he was putting out, and a lot of his, a lot of their songs is about his childhood and about things that happened to him. So yeah, I agree with that. Jonathan Davis is a very good lead singer. My favorite lead singers of all time, you know, range. Um, then Kiss. All right, I like Kiss. Don't get me wrong. I do not love Kiss. I got most of their albums. Actually, I just did a huge order on eBay, and I think I ordered a few more of theirs. I ordered so much on eBay the other day. Thanks to Mrs. Metalhead again. For giving me a budget. Thank you. Um, Kiss. I don't like Paul Stanley at all, and his partner. You know who I'm talking about. They're both money hungry. Gene Simmons is the biggest money hungry pig out there. It is not even a joke. Everything that is out there, he has to own or says he owns. Or you guys, we're going to trademark this pencil. I didn't. They want it for money. That's what killed Kiss. Not not just the them trying to get big, which they did. I'll give them that they're the biggest band out there. One of the most big selling bands out there. I saw them when they did the show in Brooklyn under the Brooklyn Bridge. I was there for that amazing show. Part of that show was backtracked. They used backing tracks on that because of being outside. They wanted that live feeling. But yeah, you know, yeah. Jethro Tull put out some quality albums. I'll give him that. I grew up, you know, I was born mid '70s, so '80s I heard everything. My brother was big into that. Um, Joseph and Ange. You might remember this device, maybe. And Leela, you too, maybe. Joseph Control. Remember back in the day, there was just an AM radio, and they transferred over. I think it was Ford. Joseph, I think we talked about this before. There was only 8 tracks, 8 track player. It was I got to learn how to put the things up. I got pictures of it. 8 track player basically it was 8-track. You put it in, and you could have there was 4 channels, I believe it was, on an 8-track, and that's how most music was played back in the old days. No, no, a little bit. I mean, what? You're only 52, I think you said. So, I'm my brother is 50, 56. He's 8 years older than I am. But you might know what I was saying. They had a device. If you wanted tapes, like, yes, I do have tapes. I'm getting back into them. Tapes like this. For people in here that don't know what a tape is, that's a tape. A and B side. Yes, I have the original Metallica No Life to Leather demo from 1982. Yes, right there. But there was a device that you had to put for cassettes, because cassette players didn't come available until 1980s, like late 70s, 80s, 84, 86. They had a device, an adapter. It was about, oh, that big. It went into the 8-track. It had reverse, forward, and play on it. And that's how you listen. That was the first way to listen to cassette tapes. And I think it was Krakow that first came out with one of those. And then Realistic, which was made by Radio Shack, came out with it also. My my mother down her basement still has my father, rest your soul, his 8-track from his 73 Buick Apollo. That's how far back it goes. It still works. He had it hooked up. He had me and my brother hook it up to his stereo in the basement so we can put 8-tracks on it. He still had, my father still has, or had, my mother has it now, is a Realistic 8-track player. It still works. Yes, and yeah, when tapes came out, if you wanted to get to a certain song, you would hold, excuse me, you would hold the play button and the fast forward button. So it was like chipmunks on crack to get to the next song. Yes, I've done that many a times, many times. Yes, Joseph, exactly. Jolie, how you doing? Yeah, my 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 father passed away in '06. Rest his soul. My uncle wanted his system down the basement. I didn't want it because I had mine. And 8-track players, they're still out there. Go on, you could go on eBay. You'll find them. K&H in Manhattan, you could order them from that place, and they're still quality. Radio Shack was like the first one to make 8-track players. It was a Realistic, and then Krakow. Uh, there was RCA had some at that time, and they were good. They were it's like a little button to get to the next part of it. That's where I heard. That's when I first heard Zeppelin was on an 8-track. It was Black Dog, and that was it. Once I heard Black Dog, I was hooked, especially Zeppelin. Everybody calls Zeppelin metal. Mm-mm. I They were heavy. They were heavy rock. Um, Black Sabbath is and always will be the first metal band. 51 years ago, I think it was 52 years ago, what it was now. That was the first metal band, without a doubt. Yeah, Robert, mine mine has that also. It's basically you could set it on your tape deck player where you just put it and then you just press play and it goes to the next song. Yeah, it basically goes over the other one, but that's not good for the tape. A lot of times the tapes will get stuck in there, And you got to do what we used to do back in the day. If anybody had a cassette tech or a cassette player and the filming, the film right there, if it got unwound, you literally had to take a pen or a pencil and put it inside and literally go like that with it to bring it back in so it didn't, and hold it as it's going in so it didn't rip. I broke many tapes like that and I was so mad. I had there were so many tapes that I ripped that the stream on it, I tore. And I was so, I was like 16. I was so mad. Yes, Joseph Truth. Yeah, I still owe Columbia House. I still owe Columbia House. And what was the other one? BMG Music, I think it was. I used to love. Yes, Columbia House would send a pamphlet in your mail. Get 20 CDs or 20 tapes for like $1. I still owe Columbia House probably about $30. This is going back way back. Everybody would buy them and not pay them. Everybody would buy things from there and they wouldn't pay them. I know. I mean, I first couple of times I ever got from them, I did pay. But after that, it was like no. BMG BMG was just like Columbia House, but they had more of a selection than Columbia House. Um, they had more. They were more metal oriented at that time, whereas Columbia House was more main mainstream oldies, early 80s, 90s, you know, whereas BMG was more oriented to like, you know, the newer crowd at that time, which is in the metal. Oh, Julie, I hated that. I especially if you left, the worst thing you could do on hot days is leave tapes, CDs, or records in the car. That's why when Ange goes to the markets where they have the vendors, I cringe when I see the vinyl out in the hot weather in the sun because people don't realize, yeah, they're selling them, so they really don't care. The sun and the heat beat down on that vinyl, it warps it on the inside. Same thing with a tape. I've had tapes in cars that were so hot, the tape itself, the film melted off and broke. I've had CDs that warped on me. It's not good for heat. Mm-mm. I hated it. Yeah, Joseph Quattrone, yeah, a lot better deals. They they would have deals like buy three get two get two free or something like that. But they they wouldn't let you combine the three. Actually, if you bought six, you were supposed to. You thought you were getting four free, and you weren't. They only did it for three for two. Yeah, he is he's absolutely worst things for any type of music, whether it tapes, CDs, and vinyl. Uh, it destroys them, and I mean destroys them. I've seen CDs literally. CDs are hard to break. You've really got to snap them. I've seen CDs literally warp because of it. Yeah, yeah. Buy one get four free. Friends of mine would try to like buy, would buy like three and think they were getting like 12 free or something like that. And I was like, no, it's gonna be buy one get those four. You're paying for the four that you want to get for free. Yeah, I still owe them money. I from like probably like 1991 or so. Actually, no, I'm sorry, about 94 to like probably 99. Yeah, that was like the last time I bought from them. Very last time. right, hold on, my screen just went weird. God. Yeah, Adrian, that ain't right. CDs, like I said, CDs are hard to break, but you can ruin CDs easily by just scratching them, you know. But yeah, there's been times where I've threw CDs literally from being pissed off or something. I just threw them for any reason, you know. Or when you order something and it wasn't that, I they would put another CD in there. It would show this CD on there, and it was something else. I hate that. Yeah, I'm I'm getting back into tapes again. Um, there's a story behind my collection. Um, I'll let it out there now. I really don't, care. Mrs. Metalhead and me, we got back together, well, rekindled in 2017. A, a lot of you know the story about her and me. We're we're high school sweethearts. Um, she went down to Texas in '94, straight out of high school. I was up here. I was doing my thing, to say the least. And 2017, well, for me, it started 2016. I was at a rock bottom time in my life. I mean, a bad time in my life. Dark, dark time in my life. I left everything. I left everything behind. Walked me ex, me and ex-wife, whatever. I was out in the streets for about a while. Left all my collection behind, thinking thinking that my ex would give it to my mother or my brother. No, an ex best friend of mine. I call him X for a reason. To the point, if I ever see him, I'm gonna let that. I'll let you guys use your imagination if I ever see him, which won't be a good day for him. I had 2,500 CDs about and 300 tapes. They're all gone, mysteriously gone. So I had to do a total rebuild between hard work, Mrs. Millett, and myself working. She told me, "You're getting your collection back," and I I get choked up about it because Mrs. Millhead saved me from catastrophe, to say the least. You know, but I went from 10 CDs at the time of going down to Texas, and now at 4,200. You know, and that's a matter of 7 years, getting everything I had back and then some, getting the actual real the originals. Yeah, so yeah, if it wasn't meant for you know Mrs. Medlin, I probably won't be around, to say the least. I know she's probably saying, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, then it it was an experience for me, eye opening. Um, I think I think for that period of time, that year, it I survived just by bare instinct, knowing surroundings, people, you know, and just get back to my old self. Did I burn bridges? Yeah, I ain't gonna lie about that. But yeah, but I'm back to who I am. It made me who I am. You know, the only people that I have to say sorry to is my two girls, my daughters, who I have right there. Gwen and Chloe. That's the only two I have to apologize to. You know, but Mrs. Meadow saved me from a dark place. Really did. And when I went down to get her down in Texas, in San Antonio, first thing I told her was, "You're not a Texas girl. You're a New York girl. You're an East Coast girl. We going back. We were supposed to come back 2021, 2020, but the big C happened, and we just said, hold off on it. You know, we'll wait, get things going." And that's when we said, 2022, 1,800 miles drove up back to New York. Um, I'm not gonna let the cat out of the bag, but we're planning on something else over the next year and a half. I think Ange and Joe know, and I think Treating might know too. Um, yeah, but it's it's been a ride, but like I said, this is my first stream. I'm just getting, I'm just whimming it. You know, I was told go for it, so yeah. Then it made me realize a lot of things about people. It made me see who my friends were, so-called friends. I mean, I ended a 20 Miss Miller, what, a 25-year, 26-year friendship with somebody that I was close with through high school, and I mean, saved him from getting pummeled a few times in high school from people. But yeah, people told me about him, but I didn't believe them. So lesson learned. I'm, grateful and humbled by where I'm at now. And no looking back, put it that way. I'm I'm back to myself. Yes, Ange, very, very true. They always say every book has a chapter. You know, there's always a cut for that one person. There's always that cover story to them. Yeah. So I always say never judge anybody by their appearance, by how they look, because you don't know them. You don't know what they've been through or what they've gone through. Mama, Mama Terry, welcome and thank you for coming in. It's funny you say you weren't going to be on social media because you're in Europe. Uh huh. Sure. No, but honestly, Voluntary, thanks for coming in. Thanks for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. I just did it on a whim today. I got frustrated with a couple of things, and I said, hell with it. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. I'm just going to do it. Just to control it, exactly. Yes. Uh-oh. Get better, Mama Terry. Oh, if anybody wants something to drink that's really good for you, well, not really good for you, but it's good. There we go. Come on. The Monster Recovered, they got them in peach tea, lemon iced tea, and also green tea. The green tea is awesome. And still trying to figure out like the first CDs I got. I That's so long ago. Like I said, I just did a big order on eBay. eBay's been my a lot of people buy CDs from like Amazon. I sometimes do. I'm trying to get away from it. I work, as you know, worked for Amazon. Not in the fulfillment centers, so I know how they come. A lot of CDs that come from Amazon are cracked, and the case not the cases. I got a CD that I had to send back because the inner liner of the CD was cracked and it affected the music. Good, Mama Terra. Yeah, Mama Terra, I agree with you on that. Watching streams, it helps you get through things. I know for me, I was in the hospital a few weeks back watching Yoange, Dutch, and a few others. It it gets you through it. It really does. You get to laugh. Especially Joe when he has his tantrums. Yes, Joe Coffee. Yes, they make the the monster rehabs are absolutely great. They have a peach tea, a green tea, and a like an iced tea type. I I like them. I I rather drink those than like the regular monster ones. I mean, yeah, they're filling, but really really good. Thanks, Joseph Coffee. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you. I'm surprised Treaton's awake. What's everybody's? Let me ask you a question. Wow, going on an hour. What's what's everybody's go-to? How can I say album or artist? For me, for me personally, it's either Maiden, Motor, or Sabbath, or Slayer. Sorry. But there's so many bands that I'm into it. It's hard to pick that just one. Uh Adriana. You do know that them or that other band in Sync. They were on. I think it was Good Morning America, I believe, a couple weeks ago. One of them planning a um, reunion or something like that. Yes, Military, great album, great album. Um, that's the one that I gotta get back. But yes, great album. Um, House is also by them. It's one of my favorite by them. My favorite song by them though, besides Black Dog, is Days of Confused. Just the heaviness of it. Sticks. My it was my cousin. My cousin knew them. He saw someone. They started hanging out. They became best friends or whatever. They played. They played. I gotta say about 9, 10 years ago. No, I think it might be more in Connecticut at a skate park. Um, it was like a big outdoor thing for them. Yes, a skate park. That's that goes to show that they were falling off, but still trying to please their friends. They sold the place out, and it was like an open amphitheater, and they sold it out. Van Halen, I have every Van Halen. Um, Eddie Van Halen was one of my favorite guitarists of all time. He's called, in my opinion, he's the king. Period of it. I saw Van Halen a few times, both with David Lee Roth and with Sammy Hagar. I know there's that debate going on for years about who's better, Sammy Hagar or David Lee Roth. Both were unique to say the least. David Lee Roth, I think, almost ruined Van Halen. Um, Especially if you guys remember, there was a video, a music award show. I want to say late '90s, early 2000s, I think it was. Um, Beck was up for an award, and David Lee Roth basically embarrassed himself, and took away from Beck. David Lee Roth had his demons; he still does. But as for best lead singer, he's a phenomenal lead singer, just phenomenal performer. I saw him both, like I said, with him and with Hagar. Hagar's Sammy Hagar is more of a edgy type with them, and they put out some great, excuse me, great albums with Hagar that I absolutely love. Like I said, I have it's over here. I think they're behind me actually. Um, I love Van Halen. I was floored when Eddie died. Yeah, yeah. Satriani Satriani was awesome. Um, Satriani got too much of an ego for me. He he just became so self-absorbed with his music and himself. A lot of times he would talk to himself, talk to people in the third person. Um, okay, Ange, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Then back to Satriani, he would he became conceited, and that's why a lot of his fans turned on him. Yes, House of the Holy had some of the most amazing riffs. Um, Page, you know, did his thing on that album. My favorite guitarist, besides Jeff Beck, who was an amazing guitarist for a whole totally different kind of music. Tony Iommi, I think I mentioned it. He cut his he Tony Iommi, the riffs on Sabbath albums, why they were so hard and it's just incredible. Tony Iommi cut off this piece of his finger when he was like 17 or 18 at a milling plant in Birmingham, England. If you ever watch him play, you'll see part of his finger is gone. So his riffs that he created on all the Black Sabbath albums, Volume 4, Master Reality, uh, Paranoid, um, God, Never Say Die. Those are incredible riffs. Some of the best Sabbath ever made. No one's gonna top it. Jeff Beck is Jeff Beck is phenomenal. Um, First time I heard him, I didn't know who it was. I think I saw him on MTV. Yes, MTV when they played music. Um, he he he, he blew my mind. He just blew me away. It's for someone to play like he did, not just playing it by feel, was incredible. Yeah, Coach Ron. Yeah, I see. There's different type of guitarists. You got your your fast ones, your mid pace, your rock, but then you have Beck, who is just out there. He could he could play anything. He could turn it turn the song into his own. That's much like Dimebag Darrell, rest his soul, the one who was shot killed playing live back in '04. Think about that is I if anybody knows Pantera, Dan, what's playing? I hung out with Dimebag Darrell and his brother Vinny, who passed away also. I hung out with those two guys back in '94, '96. I don't remember much of it, to say the least. I don't remember much. Dimebag was his own. Dimebag and Jeff Beck um, did a show in I think it was Indiana, I believe, or it might have been out in Texas somewhere, at a bar. It was great. They showed it on MTV, but it was awesome. Elf, yeah, Elf was Elf was actually Ronnie James Dio first band, and then Rainbow. Well, he tried out for Rainbow. That was Richie Blackmore. My top five guitarists. Oh man, that's hard. That's hard because God, that's extreme. I have to say Yngwie Malmsteen, definitely. As much as a idiot he has become, Yngwie Malmsteen is and was phenomenal. Um, I put him up there. Iommi definitely, without a doubt. The late great Jeff Henneman from Slayer. Um, God, there's so many. Those three definitely. Beck, Dimebag Darrell, Iommi definitely. Um, Scott Ian and Denny Spitz. Oh, what used to be in Anthrax from New York. Um, yeah, it's just so many of them. Alex Skolnick from Testament and Demonica, or I'm sorry, Dragon Lord. Definitely Alex Skolnick. The way he plays. Um, Lemmy was a bassist who played that Rickenbacker like a guitar. There was nobody out there that would play that could play a bass like he did like a guitar. And like Lemmy said, they were not a metal band. They were played rock and roll. But still, Motorhead's up there among the greats. Always will be. Yeah, Joseph Control, that hit me hard. I when he got shot and when he got killed, I saw him 4 or 5 days prior when he was in Damage Plan. I saw him in Hartford, Connecticut, a place called the Webster. I hung out with him and his brother Vinny for about an hour after the show. That hit me hard to where I remember I I woke up that morning and back then it was AOL and headline on AOL was well-known guitarist shot and killed live. And I was like, what? Back then, we had the instant messenger, and I remember back then with the flip phones or whatever, my phone was blinking, and my phone kept ringing. I was just like, I was working, I got out late from work or whatever. I remember clicking on that link. I had a coffee in my hand and a cigarette. I dropped the coffee, and I damn near burned myself with the cigarette. I cried when that happened. Dimebag was one of a kind. He was one of a kind. Yes, he partied like no other. No doubt. But Dimebag would give you his shit off his back. Literally, he's one. When I say that, he would. He would share his drink with you. He did. He would share his pot with you. He did. I got stoned with Dimebag. I got drunk with him. We hung out in his tour bus for about 3, 4 hours before they had to go to the next town. So when that happened, that hurt. Vinnie Paul recently passed away, his brother, of a heart attack. But Vinnie never recovered. There's stories about that with him, and if anybody knows about Pantera and Phil Anselmo, there's a lot that went on in that band. Why Pantera ended up the way they did. But yeah, Dimebag was one of a kind. You know, same thing with Lemmy. Um, I'm a huge Motorhead fan. I love Motorhead. I love Lemmy. I met Lemmy in 1996 at a place called Tuxedo Junction in Danbury, Connecticut. Wasp opened up for Motorhead. I hung out with Chris Holmes, Blackley Lawless, and Lemmy. I walked into the venue and there's 6'2", 6'3" Lemmy, 6'3" Blackie Lawless, and I just froze. I was like a fanboy back then. I had two of my idols growing up right there. Needless to say, I don't remember much about the show, but me and Blackie Lawless and Lemmy pounded back probably about a bottle and a half of Jack. Yeah. Oh, also got stolen with him. So I had pictures of that got lost years ago, in moves or whatever, which I'm upset about, But yeah, it was those times were awesome. And there were people were about Motorhead. There'll never be another Dimebag. There'll never be another Motorhead. Period. Another Pantera. You have two of the best guitarists ever, and well, bassists ever. I'm sorry, and a lead singer. Never happened again. I thought they reopened it because there was shows there like about 6 months after he got killed. It's in a documentary here on YouTube. It's the story about Dimebag, and there was fans that went there and told him, no, don't close, because of what happened. There was people afraid to go back. I don't blame them. You know, could that have been prevented? Yes. The security there was lax. I've been to many shows back in the '90s where you could just walk through, where they didn't pat you down. So for Wayne Gale, who was overzealous fanatic, to be able to go through the back door after he was kicked out by security at that venue and get back in is mind blowing. And get that close to Dime on stage is mind blowing. And the cop that killed, what's it called? I just mentioned his name. His shooter. For him to come in and put two shotgun shells in him, I applaud him because he saved that night. He saved more people from getting killed that night. Joseph Coffee, thank you again for tuning in. I deeply appreciate it. I love you, brother. Thank you. Go enjoy your dinner and your coffee. Well, listen, people. Mrs. Metalhead just sent me a thing saying it's dinner time for me. I want to thank everybody, and I truly mean everybody, for tuning in to my first live. Let me know how I did in the comments. I'm sure they're up there or whatever. I appreciate everybody. Love you guys. Take care of one another. And like I always say, do what you're going to do, but make it worth it. Thank you, people. I will see you on the next one. Metalhead saying, I'm out. Later. Appreciate you guys.